Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Women in Engineering panel. I am so glad to be here today as a moderator. So we'll kick us off with some quick introductions. So we'll go through name, pronouns, program, year level, quick short introduction, the extracurriculars that you guys are involved in to promote women in engineering, and finally, your favorite thing about campus. So I'll kick us off here. My name is Madison. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a fifth-year mechanical engineering student at UBC's Okanagan campus, and I'm also in the biomedical option. So some extracurriculars that I'm involved in is I'm doing a work-study position with the School of Engineering, doing a social content creator. I'm basically sharing my undergraduate experience through TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube through the Engineering Stories channels with 5 other awesome women in engineering. So let's have Samantha go first.
Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a third-year undergraduate student at the UBC Okanagan campus studying civil engineering. For extracurriculars, I'm participating in undergraduate research, working with a structural engineering professor on earthquake-resilient skyscrapers and dampers to dampen earthquake vibrations, as well as I'm the captain of a design team that is designing a net zero and disaster resilient house in the BC interior. And I try my best to get involved in women in engineering events and mentorship as much as possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard about that club with the sustainable house. I was in commercial HVAC in the summer, and so that's a really cool club. All right, let's have Heron go next.
Hi, my name is Heron, and I am in UBC Vancouver Manufacturing Engineering. And I'm currently at UBC Rockets headquarters, and I am a sub-team lead here. And what I like about UBC Engineering is that there are a lot of spaces for us to learn outside of classes. For example, there are multiple design teams that you come from. If you like fire and
I think the connection just cut out for the last 10 seconds. If you just repeat yourself.
Oh, the last second?
Just the last 10 seconds. Yep, we can hear you now.
Me now? Okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of delay. But
yeah, no worries.
So I'm currently at the UBC Rockets headquarters. And if you are interested in fire and explosions, then this is the team for you.
Very cool. I like the rockets in the background that you have.
Yeah.
All right. And then lastly, we'll have Isabella go.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabella. I'm a fourth-year Chibi, so chemical and biological engineering student at the UBC Vancouver campus. I currently am on co-op at the Bioproducts Institute, where I do research into biopolymers and biomaterials. I was on Engineers Without Borders last year, and I'm on the women's rowing team at UBC, and my pronouns are she, her.
Wow, you guys all sound like a very busy bunch. So we'll jump right into our first question here. How did you know that engineering was right for you? And can you tell us why you chose UBC engineering? And let's have Heron go first this time.
Thank you for your question. I chose UBC engineering specifically for Vancouver campus because, first of all, the weather here is very, very nice. In the summertime, it's usually around 25 degrees or less. And in the wintertime, it's usually 5 degrees or more. So it's very great for walking outside. You don't feel cold. You don't feel too hot. And I specifically chose engineering because I'm interested in machines and physics, which is also the reason why I chose manufacturing engineering, which we will learn a lot about different types of large machines that create mass production of things and controlled by artificial intelligence. And this is very interesting to me because having something that doesn't need the human manual operation that can move on its own, it's very, very fascinating to me, such as the SkyTrain, which is driverless. That's very fascinating.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a really cool example of like a Vancouver implementation of that technology. All right, let's have Isabella go next.
Sure. I came to UBC specifically for the chemical and biological engineering program because I'm really interested in bioengineering, but I didn't necessarily want to only be able to work with biomedical applications. And UBC's bioengineering program allows you to explore like bacterial fermentation and processes with a broad scope of applications.
Very cool. Let's have Samantha go next.
Yeah, so I transferred to UBC Okanagan from University in Montreal, and I chose to come here because it was a smaller campus. And coming from a big city in Montreal, it really gave me the opportunity to be more connected with my campus community and really get more involved. I found on campus, especially with undergraduate research, it was easier to get started really early in my degree. And the reason I chose engineering, this is actually my second career. So before I worked in restaurants for a number of years, and I decided to go back to engineering because when I was looking for something to do, I wanted a career path or a degree that would be usable no matter what I decided to do after graduation, and something that would give me skills that would transfer across varying disciplines and careers. I find engineering, the focus of the program is not just technical work, but a lot of teamwork skills. Really teaches you how to learn, how to think critically and solve problems, and that can be applied in anything you do in life. So yeah, that's why I chose it, and I kind of fell in love with it along the way.
Yeah, that's very true. It's interesting that you came from a big city and wanted to go to a small campus, because for me, I chose UBC as well for the small campus, but it was because I came from a smaller town and I wasn't quite ready to jump to such a big city. And I also really wanted that tight community feel, which I feel like I definitely have gotten. Yeah, so that's really awesome. So the next question that we have is, what is it like to be a woman in engineering, and can you share your experience? Let's have Isabella go first this time.
Sure. I'm actually super fortunate. UBC's Chibi program is actually over 50% women. So it's been a really positive experience to work with that. And it's very empowering to be a woman in engineering in a male dominated field and to know you're capable and be able to do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's really cool that there's a 50-50. I would love to be in those classrooms. I love when I'm in team group projects and it's 50-50. It feels really great to have a lot of other women in engineering you're working with.
Yeah, for sure.
So next, let's have Samantha go.
Yeah, so I think this is a good question. And of course, while there's still lots of challenges to getting more representation of women in engineering, I found especially in university and at UBC, there is an outpouring of support, not only events like this, but lots of faculty members, especially female faculty members who like to kind of pass along the opportunities and help empower and uplift women as well. Throughout group projects and such, I've always felt supported by my peers and with my professors for any concerns that would come up or if anything happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. There's been a lot of support from faculty, especially my professors, and a lot of the people that I've worked with have been graduated from UBCO, actually, people that were my mentors and things. So the community at UBC is definitely really supportive. And finally, let's have Heron go next.
In my program, in my year, which is fourth year in manufacturing engineering, we have a total of 45 students and 3 girls. So it is actually a very, very small girl percentage. In fact, our professors even said that it's actually very concerning. However, I didn't find it really that bad. We just treat each other equally and there's no awkwardness or anything.
Yeah, especially in the field you're in, it's definitely one of the disciplines with a lesser percent of women. And it's I'm in mechanical, and mechanical definitely also has lesser compared to some of the other biomedical. I'm also in the biomed option. So in those classes, there tends to be a higher percent of women. But I totally get it. You think that in these shows that, men would be saying these things to you and you'd feel so belittled. But in reality, it's a hard program. And if you're there, you're competent and you're just working as peers with each other. So I totally agree that a lot of that weirdness is definitely exaggerated, especially online. So you'll see things in the comments on TikTok, and it really isn't like that in person. It's tends to seem worse online. All right, so now we're going to open the floor to questions from our attendees. And please make sure that you upvote the questions if you have one that you particularly want to be answered, because we'll be answering those first. All right. So the first question is, do you know of any scholarships for women in engineering or women in STEM?
I can jump in here.
All right.
So there are some scholarships available, or quite a few scholarships available for women in STEM. The first one that comes to mind is through the BC Scholarship Society. They have a Women in Technology scholarship. I believe they offer around 8 or 10 of those scholarships a year. And it really focuses on women with the potential to succeed in STEM fields through demonstrated leadership, and as well empowering other women and minorities in STEM. So that one is a larger amount at $10,000. There are also some scholarships available through the Engineers and Geoscientists British Columbia. So for those who are not familiar, that's the body in British Columbia that licenses and regulates the engineering profession, and they offer women in engineering scholarships. And then there are a number of other ones available, I think, for women in STEM. If you kind of look around, depending on specific disciplines that you're interested in, or specific areas of focus, like project management, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I notice even throughout your degree, so once you start, you'll notice like clubs that you're part of, you'll find a lot of other scholarships and bursaries that will be pushed out. The School of Engineering likes to send out emails advertising those. So once you're a student, the scholarships continue as well. All right. So our next question is, what advice would you give to young women who want to pursue engineering?
I would say not to be afraid to do it. Like, there's so many great leaders we have around us that can support you. And I think it's like a really awesome opportunity to pursue STEM and like know that you have job security when you graduate.
Yeah.
I really agree with that for sure. I think that it really offers a lot of opportunity. There's so many different types of engineering, and even within a given discipline, there's so many different pathways and directions you can go down. So I think that there really is something for everyone in engineering.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like female engineers are some of the most badass people that I've known. Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely a tight-knit community. I think we also understand each other on a deeper level. I know that I connect really well with a lot of the women in engineering in my classes. So we tend to stick together. And yeah, it's to young women who want to pursue engineering, I would definitely say one thing, I didn't even know if I was going to go into engineering originally. And I kind of just knew I was interested in STEM. I liked science and math, and I was good at it. So I decided to go into engineering, and it was definitely a really great decision because you can split off and go into a lot of different fields. Even though you're in engineering, you could end up not in engineering with an engineering degree. So I really like the versatility of the degree. And it's easier to switch out of engineering than into engineering as well. So if you end up switching out, you could switch back into sciences. So yeah. All right, next question. If you could, what advice would you give to your first year self at UBC? Any takers for that question?
I think it really depends for everybody, but I think I would tell myself not to stress as much, and that just to try my best and work hard. And in some ways, the content gets harder as you go through your degree, but also you get better at dealing with it, and you get better at navigating tricky group projects or dealing with tough exams and balancing your time. And in that sense, it actually does get a lot easier. You get a lot more comfortable. And I think as long as you work hard at it, it will work out. You will find your niche.
Totally.
I think like it's so cliche, but like really do take time for yourself in your day. Like take the time out. You can be so much more productive if you take like an hour to do something that you just want to do that's not related to school.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, that's very important. I think that's especially something a lot of people forget earlier in their degree, because it's a new environment that they're surrounded in, and they get busy and they kind of push that to the side to try to make some extra time. But long term, it'll help you for sure.
Yeah. It kind of, my advice kind of tailors off of that as well, is just working on finding some sort of time management, whether that's making a journal or a schedule, because you have all this busyness in your head, and it's nice to write it down and dedicate time. And I found that once I figured out how to manage my time, my stress went way down too, because when it's all in your head, Canvas is really great. UBC uses Canvas, which will give you kind of a calendar of when things are due. But honestly, like finding a time management program that works well for you was my biggest tip to my first year self.
My tip for first year would be don't try to save money constantly, like constantly overthink about money. Oh, if I do this, I save $1, or oh, this is so expensive. That is so expensive. Oh, I can't do this because it's too expensive. I don't want to do this. I would say don't overthink it, and you only live once, and this is the only first year you have. So don't try to save money on the smallest things, such as, oh, I try to save money to on food, or especially on food or equipment, school equipment. Just yeah, if you want to eat that donut, just spend the money, no matter how expensive it is, just eat it. And if you want that computer, if you need the computer, then you should buy it because it will last you for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, if money is tight, make sure you follow. There's tons of student clubs that do free events and they'll give out food and things. So make sure you follow them on social media so you can be notified of what's going on campus, because there are tons of places and events that will give out free food. So there's a quick tip. All right. So the next question is about co-op. So what companies have you done your co-op for? And panelists who have completed a co-op. So for any of you that have completed a co-op, what companies did you work for?
Before I officially enrolled in the co-op program, I did internships with 3M and my local municipality in Ontario. So for those that don't know, 3M is like a large manufacturer. They make like N95 masks, Scotch tape, filters, like a whole slew of things. And my job there was coding apps, which was like really interesting. And honestly, I learned that like manufacturing isn't an industry that I want to be in, but that's still a beneficial experience. And then I worked in a civil engineering position and did a lot of work with ArcGIS and mapping and managing city assets. And now I work on a co-op in a lab on campus where I do research with bacterial cellulose.
Wow, that's very cool. Anyone else been in co-op?
I did a co-op this past summer and then the one before that. So the first one I did, I worked at an engineering firm in Rosslyn, BC called BBA Consultants. And there I got to work on lots of hydrotechnical projects, so dams and things like that, as well as a bit of projects in the mining industry, doing inspections of different sites there, looking at the structural design and seeing if any structural repairs were needed. And then as well doing some geotechnical work. So looking at the soil characteristics and looking at the stability of different slopes. And then this past summer, I was working with a professor developing a new type of damper, which I kind of mentioned earlier, for helping buildings withstand earthquakes a bit better. So with that, I worked on a couple of research publications. And then finally, I'm starting another co-op at Stantec in January, where I'll work with their tall building company to do more earthquake resilience things, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah, that is very exciting. All right, we have another question about co-op. Is the co-op program competitive? Does being a woman make it more competitive?
I don't actually think it's that competitive. I think they provide a lot of resources for the interview and resume making going into it. And I would say being a woman is probably more of an asset than it makes it more competitive. But they provide the resources and they're super helpful. And I don't personally know anyone that's been rejected from the program. So I think it's like pretty common.
Yeah.
I would certainly recommend to keep getting involved, even if you're worried about it being competitive, because you never know until you apply, and it is an excellent learning experience throughout your degree.
Yeah. I don't think there's like a quota or like an upper limit on the number of students that can do co-op either. It's just like making sure that you meet the requirements and are qualified.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that really wanted to do co-op, and I think all of them got in and they've been loving it. So it seems like if you want to get into it, you get into it. Sorry. So are the majority of professors male, or is it a fair distribution?
I would say in Chibi at UBC Vancouver, it's mostly male, probably like 60-40. But I don't find that like to be a super negative thing. I think the professors are really respectful regardless of their gender. And I've had really good experiences with male and female professors.
Yeah, same. I don't really pay attention actually to specific. Oh, this is a female professor. Oh, that one is a male again. No. I don't really pay attention to it. Yeah, they're about the same.
Yeah, I would say the same. I've actually had a lot of really awesome female professors. My favorite classes have all been with female professors, actually, and they have honestly been the best professors, and that's across the board. Everybody agrees. So they found some really great women professors, and now they're my faculty advisor for my capstone project as well. So yeah, a lot of them had made a really awesome impact. Specifically, Dr. Sabine Wayand. If you ever get a chance to become to UBCO, she's an awesome professor. Is there any professors that particularly made an impact on you guys?
For myself, it's the prof that I'm working with right now on the undergrad research with seismic dampers. Just working with her, like she's very passionate about giving her students opportunities to succeed and really putting them in the limelight. So putting them first on publications, getting them networking opportunities, and connecting them with people at conferences, which I'm really grateful for because she's an incredibly busy woman. She has so much going on her plate and so many people always asking her for things, but she always makes that time for people. And for that, I'm really grateful. There's another professor here as well, who I worked with a bit, who supports a lot of our student club initiatives. And I really love that they're so engaged in the professional development side here at UBCO.
Yeah, totally. I really recommend if you come into engineering to find a woman mentor. We actually have a mentorship program, Women in Engineering Mentors, and I found that to be super beneficial. All right, so our next question, how do we go about learning about lab and research option at UBC?
I know that you can find a lot of research assistant positions through the UBC Work Learn website, which you'll have access to if you choose to come to UBC. But also, like the way that I got my co-op in research is actually through networking with different TAs and talking to them about what their research is and if they're willing to work with undergrads. So definitely, like, don't underestimate the power of networking and connecting and just talking to people about what they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think as well, as you get into your upper years, I've noticed that a lot of my professors have been mentioning when they have research opportunities available in their labs to undergraduate students. Sometimes you start out volunteered, sometimes they're paid work-learn positions, but they're a really good chance to get your foot in the door. You can also always just go talk to your profs during their office hours. Be mindful of their time, of course, and maybe do a little bit of research onto what they're focusing on first and go in prepared. But I think they're always excited to talk to students about what they have going on in their different projects.
Awesome. Our next question is, how did you come across your internship opportunities?
For co-op specifically, there's a co-op portal that has all the job postings that companies have brought to UBC looking specifically for UBC engineering students. And then, like, if there's specific companies that you have in mind, you can often look on their websites for student opportunities in the coming months or year. And then also, like, just like typical LinkedIn or Indeed.
Yeah.
Those are, like, honestly awesome ways to find out what people are looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree. Another one is also networking. I've gotten one of my jobs through networking, and it was just through I knew somebody who knew somebody. So sometimes that's you might join a club or something, and that could lead to a internship at a company. So we have another question. Do you have any tips for conflict resolution within group projects or other engineering students? We have 2 minutes left, so we'll make this one quick.
I think the greatest conflicts I had would be just people not showing up to meetings, and that as the year progresses in third year and fourth year, that rarely happens. It's usually in first year, when first and second year, when for team related projects, and there's not that much. Yeah, outside of these conflicts, there's not that much dramatic conflicts such as like arguments or anything. I've never been involved in a team argument.
Yeah. you have any tips on dealing with resolution? Any of you?
I think just be patient and listen to other people's opinions. And you can try to work it out with them individually. And if it's maybe progressed half the term, then you can take it to a TA. But also have the courage to advocate for yourself while being patient with what your team members might be feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think we might need to wrap it up here. I think we have maybe 30 seconds left. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. This was really awesome. I'm so glad to be able to meet you, and I hope I see you, Samantha, around campus now that we know each other. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of UBC's open house. And also, if you're around, I recommend you come and attend the in-person one. That's also a reason why I chose UBC, was after going to the open house. So have a great night, everybody. Thank you for being